Hello, it is actually 2 minutes to midnight on September 2nd, 2015, Wednesday, comic book day. We went through this in the first part. This would have been up earlier, but I remembered, like, just as I was finishing off the first part of this video, that the Mr. Robot season finale was tonight, so I took a break and watched that. And if you haven't watched Mr. Robot, it's such a great show. It is so good. Um, I'm surprised it's on the USA Network, which does like Suits and Psych and Monk and like Law and Order. So like it shouldn't be that good. But Mr. Robot is my second favorite show on television right now, only behind Rick and Morty. Um, and I guess it's not on television right now because today was the finale. But if you haven't seen any Mr. Robot, it's 10 episodes, amazing stuff. It mixes I'm trying to think of ways to not spoil it, but like Dexter, like the main character is like Dexter but a computer hacker. The other main character is like Patrick Bateman meets Frank Underwood. Um, it's all about like computers and Wall Street and hacking, and it's just such a great show. And I feel like if you enjoy like comic books, it kind of has that comic booky feel. In that you're following a main character, you have his inner monologue as he's trying to, and this is like his own words, as he's trying to save the world. Um, just an amazing show. Finale was tonight. Pretty good finale. Really enjoyed it. So if you haven't seen Mr. Robot and you're looking for some TV, then definitely check that out. But we're not here to discuss television. We're here to discuss comic books. And the comic books that we are going to discuss in this video are, well, one at a time. Silk, issue 7, End of Days, or Last Days of, whatever. This is the Silk lead-in to Secret Wars. So in the last issue, Silk finally kind of confronted Black Cat, got everything she kind of wanted to out of Black Cat, a few good punches in and everything, and decided that, now that she's gotten that done and over with of her life, she's going to move on. She's going to, try and help herself adjust to this new life better, so she goes to a therapist. Unfortunately, it is the end of the world, so pretty bad time to try and start doing something new. But at the end of the world, she has one last chance to find her family. J. Jonah Jameson discovers, okay, we might have found a lead on your brother. He's in a gang. He was recently arrested and taken in. He's in a hospital right now. But, we're not sure this is your brother, but it's the end of the world. You have one last chance. You might as well see. And Cindy decides, okay, I guess, it is the end of the world. I have one last chance to find my brother and make things right. I'm going to do that. And, of course, on her way, she gets distracted by all of these disasters and other things happening. And because she's a superhero, she, despite this being the last chance she has to see her brother, she stops. She helps everyone out on the way that she possibly can. And that involves getting stuck under a bus. She has to lift the bus out of a hole, and the bus doesn't quite come out. She rescues everybody, but then she's stuck in the hole under a bus. The price of being a hero and making that sacrifice. But this is the last issue of this run of Silk. I believe Silk will start from a new number 1 in October or November or something. But as a last issue, as a lead into Secret Wars, rather, you can't really complain. Ties things up. I mean, the last issue was tying up the story, and this is just what does she do in the last day, in the last day on Earth, and it's a sweet ending. It's a happy ending, despite where I left off the summary in the middle. It's a happy ending. It feels deserved. It's nice, seeing that That's what I kind of like about these Last Days of issues so far, is that they show that even at the end of the world, even when nothing else matters anymore, a hero is going to be a hero. A hero is going to take time out of their day, out of their last day, to help other people, to save other people, and make sure that the world is comfortable. They know they can't save it, but they can make things as right as they possibly can. And even with a new hero like Silk, it's great that her whole thing, her whole character is about finding her family again. And last day to do that, she still takes the time, even though this is the only thing she's ever wanted, to help people in more dire need than her. So pretty good last issue on that. Next book is the Last Days of Silver Surfer, and this kind of goes in a completely different direction than a lot of these other Last Days, because last issue, which was also Last Days of, ended with Silver Surfer narrowly escaping the end of the universe and entering the void, this big empty space, and then being invoked by this other guy to recreate the universe, to bring everything back, as Don Greenwood says on the first page here. And that's what this comic is. It's the Silver Surfer and Don realizing that they have to recreate the entire universe using only the power of their imagination. So while Dawn does her best to recreate Earth, the Surfer goes, and does his best to recreate the rest of the entirety of the universe. And so this is a lovely page here, just full of colors and motion, as the Surfer goes around and recreates all the planets and all the aliens that have been destroyed. And the main conflict here is like a conflict of characters, or a crisis of conscience. Whether or not the Surfer takes this opportunity to create the universe exactly as it was, or to try his best to improve it. And it's marked when he recreates Galactus and then realizes, no, I don't want Galactus. Galactus is terrible. If I'm recreating the universe, I'm not going to create him. And so in this state of like ultimate power and ultimate responsibility, he decides, no, I'm going to try and make things better than they were. And of course, playing God doesn't always work out for the best. And so by the end of this issue, the Surfer taking, let's say, liberties with his design of the universe might get him into more trouble than it's worth. And then we end the issue with basically the just like the ultimate power that is saying, wrong, you've done it wrong, you've created things wrong, you done fucked up. And so I'm guessing the last issue of Silver Surfer is him coming to terms with realizing that he can't create a perfect universe, he just has to create the universe as it is, if he creates the universe at all. So pretty good stuff. Not that complicated, not the deepest thing in the world, but still, it's I think it's an appropriate end of days story for Silver Surfer, for someone who's always had, this cosmic power, this great power, to finally have the ability to fix all of his wrongs, to absolve himself of all these sins, and running into just like the karmic barriers of doing that you can't just erase all of it. You have to live with that guilt. You have to, instead of making it like it never happened, make things as best as they can now that they have. So, kind of very much summarizing the entire conflict of this run of him, trying to absolve his past sins. Very much condensing that into one big problem, into one kind of 2-issue thing of, do I take the chance to fix it if it means I never, will have done it in the first place. And the last issue of the last comic book issue, I don't know why I said that weird the first time, I picked up this week is We Stand on Guard, issue number 3. And this is more kind of expository, more backstory than we've previously gotten on this book. So we open with a flashback to just after the invasion of Canada by the United States. You have Amber and her brother running away on a boxcar, and they meet a hobo, another runaway trying to escape the American invasion. and we find out some of the reasons that America invaded, other than the bombing of the White House. We find out that, we found out in an earlier issue, but it's expanded on that the U.S. needs water, and that's why they invaded Canada, for the water, for the resources. And of course, we're living today in a time where there is a huge drought in America, in the American West, California especially. There is a huge drought, so I feel that this, reason for the American invasion is very prescient. It makes a lot of sense given the world that we're in today. We then catch up to the present, where the freedom fighters here, including Amber, find out that the chief, their leader, has been kidnapped by the Americans, and part of this book is them deciding, okay, now that our leader is gone, what do we do? What do we try and repair the machine that we took from the Americans, that big hulking robot? Do we try and repair that and fight back, or do we run away and do the best we can, to live another day, regroup, and all that? Meanwhile, the kidnapped, and this is so cool, I think, so interesting. We also see what happened to the chief now that she's been kidnapped, and she's being tortured by the United States. Of course, in the future, torture is a little different. It's all virtual reality. So she thinks she's in a garage or a warehouse somewhere, about to be dipped in a pool of lit gasoline, when in reality she's in this bed thing. She's all comfy, and it's all in her head, all the torture. And the torture they use, they start off with dipping her repeatedly in a pool of burning gasoline, and it only gets more fucked up from there. The torture that the U.S. does in order to get her to tell the authorities where the freedom fighters are. It really is like, I kind of gagged a little when you get deeper into this book and find out what the torture is that they move on to. It is like, and it's like you understand, okay, this character has an iron will, but like you're giving up as soon as they threaten to do that. You give up. It's yeah, really fun, amazing book. I think really well done science fiction, in that it clearly takes place in a future version of our world. It's not, and I had this discussion with a friend of mine recently, that I've noticed like these two kind of things in science fiction, where there's science fiction that says, this is the future of our world except this happened, so you have like, this is the future of our world, but in 2001, 9/11 never happened. So what's the future of that world? And you have like that alternate universe future. And then you have stuff like this, which is, this is the future of today. This is a possible future of today, given the track we're already on. Not an alternate future, not a future where things happen differently, but a possible future. A future where things are exactly as they are, and then tomorrow this happens. And that makes sense. Because it's the world we're already in, just 100 years more of it. And it's very, very good sci-fi, very well done. Just incredible stuff. I found out this is actually in the back of this book. They say it's a miniseries. I didn't know that. I thought this was an ongoing, but apparently it's a 6-issue miniseries, which means we're already halfway done, which is kind of unfortunate. However, it does mean that there is less commitment if you have been on the fence. This is only going to be a 6-issue thing. So far, very, very good, and I can recommend it. And that is it for comic books this week. If you wanted to see my reviews of the DC books I picked up, that is in part 1 to this video. But we're done with this one, so I'd like to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed it, please like it. If you want to, please subscribe and see these more easily. You don't have to type my name in every week or whatever you do if you're not subscribed to watch these videos. I don't know. Any comments, questions, anything whatsoever, please leave them below and I will do my best to get to them. And yeah, that is it for this week in comic books. Again, thank you for watching, and I hope you'll join me next week for more comic book reviews.